Now, a woman-led organization called a 1,000 Women Trust will be sending postcards to President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa during the 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children. They'll also be mobilizing other NGOs to offer government the expertise and practical skills of participating organizations in a bid to eradicate gender-based violence. Well, let's discuss their plans further now with Emily Orion. She's the chief executive of the non-profit organization Post to Parliament. Good afternoon, ma'am, and thank you very much for your time this afternoon. It's a very interesting initiative you've done here. Why 1,000 postcards? I haven't heard of a postcard in a long time myself.
No, absolutely. Well, Dan, it's because it's 16 days of activism, but we're all tired, aren't we? And I think we've realized what is absolutely clear, certainly to the young people of our country, is that our government has failed. And the reason why we know they've failed is because from the time that all of us ate lunch today until now, someone has been killed in our country. And it's probably even more than that, but to lose even one is a problem. And all we keep on doing is trying to correct behavior while perpetrating the same attitudes and values that cause this thing called gender-based violence, which is really just violence against women and children. It's actually just social brutality. Yeah.
I've seen the, I'm not trying to be petty, but it just fascinates me that you are writing. These will be in writing. And I mean, I've seen the president, when he gives his State of the Nation address or speeches in Parliament, he uses an iPad or some form of device. Do you think he'll find the time to actually sit down and read each and every of these postcards?
Well, there's good news for you, Dan, in that we have just got a digital postcard portal where we've actually designed with the help of a company called Fastlink that creates digital postcards, which are available at P2P online. And what we do as researchers is we synthesize the findings. So last year it was 14,000 postcards, and we created a report not just for the president, but for his entire advisory team, as well as for the Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities.
Thank you. So what's the focus of these letters?
Okay, so for this year, we are focusing on community organizations. What I can say to you, Dan, is that as a young person in this country, it is extremely hurtful to think of names like, Shadina Pada, a 5-year-old who's killed in Gauteng, Keisha Goliath, a 15-year-old killed in the Eastern Cape, Cheslin April, a 6-year-old killed in the Western Cape. Things become dark for us as young people when we think about the reality. But, there are good South Africans who wake up every morning, people like Tina Theart, Lucinda Evans, Ian Cameron. These are people who literally walk through bullets for our kids. And suddenly when we focus on the work that a lot of South African in their community organizations are doing, the future becomes a lot brighter. So the purpose of the postcard is, number one, to acknowledge the feeling of vulnerability, especially as young people, that feeling of I need to heal. I am traumatized from knowing that every 3 hours someone in this country is killed. But it also takes a sense of responsibility in the sense that we are saying to the government, you know what, you failed, we're standing in the gap for you, this is what we're doing, and these are our solutions for you, and this is what we can share, this is how we can lead with you.
Have you given any guidance to those who will be writing the letters about what kind of themes they can follow?
We have done so. So we're making it very clear, either access a physical postcard through 1,000 Women or through Post to Parliament, or go online to our link. There you are invited to share which organization, community organization you're from. There you're invited to share your pledge in commitment to ending gender-based violence. And then you're invited to write down what your solution is for the president. And you can even select sort of a department. For example, a police station. One suggestion came out, why don't we have more community-based organizations placed in police stations? That way that if somebody needs to accompaniment to a clinic, they can have it. Another another department would be a clinic. That's another aspect of government. Schools is another aspect. So people can write down their solution and link it to a government department, and then it comes through to us. We synthesize the findings by the 9th of December, and on the 10th of December in Cape Town at St. George's Cathedral, we hang up those postcards. we present our report, and then we deliver it to the President's advisor and the Minister for Women.
What I like about what I'm hearing is you are offering practical solutions. You are offering ideas in the NGOs to the presidency to say, in the fight against gender-based violence, in the fight against violence against children, this is what we think. We are on the ground. We know. Use us.
Absolutely, Dan, you've got it just right. It's not just ideas, it's sort of practical examples of what we are doing right now. You know, this morning I came from an area called Lavender Hill, and in the midst, it's at the nexus of about at least 4 gangs. And there was a crowd of kids, and in this crowd of kids, a young boy about 9 looked at me and he said, "Auntie, please say my name." And I thought, wow, that a 9-year-old just wants to hear his name being said. And when I said his name, I thought of how precious it is to say this child's name while he's alive and not to have to say this child's name after they have been killed or after they have passed. And I think there are too many parents in this country who have to say their child's name after they have passed. So yeah, we're moving beyond the government. Sorry.
Yeah, you're moving beyond government, yeah? You can carry on?
No, I'm just saying we're moving beyond a government, you know, waiting on government. We heard the other day that the Minister for Women and her department didn't, in fact, get certification on the GBV bill. So we don't have a choice but to move beyond government, to stand in the gap. And we're choosing our vulnerability, but to use it for volition, to take responsibility within our families and our communities.
Okay, very briefly, as we conclude, Ms. Orion, the president gets the presidency receives the delivery on the 10th of December. And then after that, yes. What happens now?
That's an excellent question. So last year when we delivered our letters to the ministry, we were then invited to give another report in Parliament. And for us, it's really about making those connections and being relied on. It opens up a dialogue between government and civil society. You know, one positive sort of outcome is that we then get invited more into schools. We know that the Western Cape is working on a curriculum within schools about bullying. And so it opens that dialogue between government and civil society. And most importantly, or for me personally, it provides that platform to write and to heal. Sometimes if you can't find justice, at least you can just find healing for oneself.
Thank you very much for your time. Good luck with the campaign. We'll follow it, of course, to find out how it's all going to go. That's Emily Orion. She's the chief executive of the non-profit company Post to Parliament.